Well, from the beginning might be nice. Oh, okay, so welcome everybody again. This is the new student check-in with advisors. I'm Renee Finnemore. You've met Adriana, and we'll be leading today's session. We also, you have a success coach assigned to you, and you may have worked with her in your admissions process. So her name's Barbara Bush. She was not able to be here today, but you will be hearing from her throughout the semester. So just a face for the name for you. So our goal for today is really just to help you understand what to expect as you're getting started in the program. So we'll talk a little bit about what to expect with your classes. We'll touch on financial aid and payment deadlines and things like that. And then also give you sort of an overview of what to expect with field placement. So we'll just dive right in. Adriana, do you want to start with this slide?
Sure. So you are in your second week of classes. You have probably noticed the way that the courses are designed. We are accelerated in that we do our classes in 7 weeks. So you've probably noticed that you have a lot of reading to do in your first course. Quizzes. If you've looked at the syllabus, it's a whole lot of that in this course. We want to let you know that it will not be that way in your future courses. There'll be a lot more interaction with both the instructor and with your classmates. So if this course doesn't match the vibes that you're looking for in an online program, it's not consistent with the way that we run the rest of the program. So if you have any trouble with the way that things are running, please feel free to reach out for assistance, and we're happy to help with that. For this first semester, we registered you. So we wanted to make sure that you did the orientation, and then we got you registered for classes. But for the fall semester, I'm going to send out an email around mid-June with your registration information. I'm sorry, I just got a notification saying too quiet. Can you hear me? Anybody? Renee, you can hear me fine? Okay, yeah. Sorry. It says the subtitles aren't available because I'm talking too quietly, but I hope you all can hear me. So in mid-June, I'll go ahead and send a registration email with what you need to enroll in for your next semester of classes. And you can always expect an email from me prior to the next semester to tell you what to enroll in and how to do that. So look out for that email. I know that there's a transition coming with email, so you may be getting some information about that. If you don't see anything in mid-June about registration, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll figure out what's going on. In your web courses, you probably have seen a pressure to plagiarize module. This is a requirement for all new students. You need to complete this, or a hold will be placed on your account, meaning that you can't register for an upcoming semester. So be sure to complete that by the deadline stated within the module. I'm not entirely sure what that is right now, but if you have any questions about that, you can also let us know. I think it's still, there's Renee saying in the chat that students typically get added around week 3. So you may have not seen it yet. It might not be there yet. And then your MyUCF to-do list items. So when you log into MyUCF and the student center loads, you're going to see on the right-hand side that there's a to-do list. This is going to let you know if there's anything you have to do for financial aid, or if there's any other things that you're involved in that need something. So you're going to see one for your plan of study. It's probably not there yet, but you can disregard it because you've already submitted your plan of study during the orientation. So don't worry about that one, but if you see other ones, be sure to click on them and see what you need to do in order to avoid any holds or any delays in financial aid.
All right, so thinking about financial aid, this part of the year is always a little bit tricky for people. This summer is part of the 2022-2023 academic year. So when you submit a FAFSA, it's going to default to the 2023-2024 FAFSA application, which you need to do because that academic year starts with the fall semester. So definitely need to submit that, but you'll also want to, when you look at it, it almost looks like a little, like a tab, and you can just click to the right of that where it says 2022, 2023. Make sure you're submitting that FAFSA. That's how they're going to make a determination about student loans for this summer semester. So you should see that if you've already submitted it, you should see an award offer already that you can go ahead and accept, reduce, or decline. So you can accept the whole amount that they offer. You can reduce it to just cover a portion of your invoice or just the invoice and not anything extra. Or you can decline it completely. So if you're not sure about how to do that, feel free to reach out to me and I can direct you where to find instructions and videos on that. Disbursement is based on the number of credits that you're actively enrolled in. So in the summer, you need to be enrolled in at least 2 credit hours. So your loans will disperse pretty early on in the semester. So you do that financial aid activity assignment that's due like the first Friday. And then in week 2, which is this week, they're working on dispersing. So financial aid has pulled the information from web courses to see who's completed those assignments and then told student accounts you can release the money for these students. So if you submitted your assignment on time, your aid will disperse this week, either yesterday or tomorrow. They do these things on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you'll see that they will pay your fee invoice and any surplus will be refunded to you. So, and that depends on if you set up direct deposit, it'll go into your bank account. If you didn't, they'll mail you a check. So that takes usually like 3 to 5 business days. So especially with the Memorial Day holiday next week, you might not see that direct deposit happening until the end of next week, and you might not see a check until the following week. If you didn't turn in your assignment on time, that typically delays disbursement about a week. So just keep that in mind, that if you didn't do that financial aid activity assignment before the deadline, you won't see your disbursement. So that's how it'll work for summer. It's a similar process for fall and spring. However, the enrollment requirement, that active enrollment requirement, is larger. So you have to be actively enrolled in 4.5 credits in fall and spring. So you won't see your financial aid dispersed until term 2. So, and you'll notice that your fee invoice due date updated, it starts out being that it's due like the second week of the semester, and you get reminders from student accounts and financial aid, but just know that after that deadline passes, it will update to the actual payment deadline for this program. And you can always verify what our payment deadline is on the academic calendar that we provided to you. So now all of this is contingent on you completing any to-do list items in your MyUCF related to financial aid. So so just make sure that you're checking. If you don't see a disbursement, make sure that there's no to-do list items. And if you ever have questions about financial aid and you're not sure, I really encourage you to just reach out to me or Adriana before calling financial aid, mainly because I do have access to some financial aid screens, so I can kind of troubleshoot a little bit. And we have a person that we work with directly at financial aid. So rather than you calling and sitting on hold for a long time and possibly getting different information that is accurate for our program. So there's about 500 or so students at UCF that are in this 2-term structure with one class for 7 weeks and then a second class, and it affects the way financial aid operates. And so sometimes when students call the main number for financial aid, they can't see that's the type of program that you're in. And so the information they give you would apply to other students at UCF, but not necessarily you in your program. So that's why we recommend just reaching out to us first. All right. So field placement, you're going to do 2 separate field placements during your time in the program. A generalist field placement that will begin in your second year in semester 4. And that's about 10 hours per week in 3 semesters. And then your third year, you'll do a clinical field placement that will be 14 hours a week over 3 semesters. The field placement process begins about 6 months or so before the start of your field placement. So next semester, you will begin that field placement process. So you'll see an invitation to something called Let's Get Real About Field, which is sort of an introduction to what to expect with the field placement process. And, it'll be very informative. You'll get to meet the field faculty and ask any questions that you have at that time. But essentially the process is that you submit an application a narrative essay, sort of like you did for your application to the program here, and then a resume, and then they assign you to a field faculty who uses that information to match you with an agency near where you live. So it's a very time-consuming process for the field faculty, which is why they get started early on. But you can find more information and resources about field placement, what to expect, what it looks like, what types of things you'll do, what types of places you might do it at. All of that is located in the advising portal. There's a whole section on field placement there. So I encourage you to check it out. Adriana, you want to talk about getting connected?
Sure. Yeah, there's lots of ways to get connected to us, to Success Coach, and to other people in the program. So Knight's email is very, very important because that's the official way that we can communicate with you. So we're not supposed to respond if you are messaging us from your personal account. So just make sure that you're using your Knight's email and not Gmail or Outlook, so that we can be sure to give you the right information, and check it often. So during the semester, check it every couple days. We have breaks between semesters or within a semester. Still check it every few days because information comes out from both us and the main campus, and you just want to make sure that you're in the know and you're not missing anything. Particularly for our registration, some students just don't check their email, they miss the registration email, and then they can't get into the elective of their choice. And they're hoping that there's a way, but it's first come, first serve. So be sure you're checking that Knight's email. We also, I'm going to skip down just a second, but in the advising portal, you may have web courses set that it also sends an email to your Knight's email from any notifications or messages you get in the advising portal from web courses. So be sure to pay attention to those as well. For your faculty and advisors, Renee and I are, I'm going to say it, we're the best at getting back in contact with students. We are really good at that. So you can reach us by email is the preferred method. That way, if we're not in the office or we can't get to a phone right away, email is the best because we can set up a time where we'll definitely be available for you. So email, phone, and then we can absolutely set up Zoom sessions like this, phone calls, any sort of time that you need to, we can do that. Your faculty will list their contact information in their syllabus. So pay attention to what their preferred contact method is, because some like to use their UCF email, but some want to just be contacted through web courses. So be sure you're paying attention to the way that your instructor wants to be contacted so that you can be sure to get your answers. We have about, I think it's 48 hours, Renee, a turnaround time of 48 hours. So if you reach out to a faculty or an advisor, we ask for 48 hours before a response or before you email us again asking for a response. Renee and I, we are much quicker than that, but faculty do sometimes take a little bit because the accelerated courses, they might be teaching more than one, and they're doing lots of stuff. So 48 hours, give them. If you have any questions, look at your syllabus and reach out early. So if you see something coming and you don't understand it, give them time to respond to you. Barbara Bush is our success coach. You saw that at the beginning. She'll be reaching out to you throughout the semester, and you've already probably heard from her, to help you with things like time management, things like how are you going to get through these classes if you're struggling a little bit, your life balance, that sort of thing. And if you need any help in that, go ahead and reach out to Barbara. And if she can't help you, she will definitely point you in the right direction. And we will as well. If you can't remember something and it's not us, we'll point you in the right direction. That online advising portal through web courses is where we post our most important announcements to students. We post scholarships there, job opportunities, all kinds of things in the portal. So be sure to pay attention to those messages. I'm pretty sure everybody from your cohort has accepted their invitation to join the advising portal, but I'll check it again today. So if for any reason you didn't see an invitation, we'll make sure you get one. And we also have a Facebook group. So pretty active Facebook group where people share what they know about classes, instructors, they sell their textbooks. But what's really cool about it, I think, is that you can connect with alums as well. So people who've already gone through the program, who've already finished, who've taken the licensure exam, who are working in the field, they share their opportunities at their job placements, or they share where they're doing their internship. There's a lot of back and forth about that. So you can feel free to post there and ask any questions you might have that you want to hear from other students or alums about. And anything we post to the Facebook group, we will also share in the online advising portal. So you won't miss anything if you're not on the Facebook group, nothing official. But you might miss out on the students talking with one another and the alums. So it's a really good group, and we encourage you to join if you are on Facebook.
Yeah, so kind of continuing that, just thinking about, Adriana mentioned we can meet, via email, you can call us, you can schedule an appointment, like a specific time to get together. We do group advising sessions like this throughout your time in the program. But, anytime you have questions about academic requirements, policies, procedures, your plan of study and when you're taking classes, or if you're experiencing challenges that might be affecting your academics. So those are definitely reasons to reach out to us, because we can help come up with some strategies to help you be successful, but also to protect your academic standing. So the earlier that we know and can help, intervene, the better the outcome for you. So, and we're happy to meet with anybody anytime. And then your success coach. So Barbara is really she's very well trained in terms of coaching. She is a huge champion of students and a cheerleader and motivational partner. So she really does try to help connect students with resources, to help them come up with plans, to listen to them talk about, how they're struggling with balancing reading 200 pages a week and getting their kiddos to school activities and getting the laundry done and finding time to do all of that. And also like helping them to see how they can increase their support network. What do they need to do to reach the goals that they want, and be intentional about things. So Barbara really is very, very skilled at that. And so we really encourage you to read the emails that she will send you emails probably every couple of weeks, all semester long, every semester. But she'll also be available to have phone and video meetings with you, just like your advisors are. So, this is a service that you pay for as part of your tuition and fees. So I always tell students, like, this is a great time to if you've never met with a coach before, to kind of sit down and hear about what they can do, and think about, like, how you could take advantage of that, since you're paying for it. So and I often see students really connect with Barbara like early on in the beginning, like when you're trying to like get a feel for being a student again. Sometimes in the middle, like when you start that first field placement, like kind of thinking about those things, or starting that placement process and feeling, anxious about how that's going to go. And then later on, as they're getting closer to graduation and thinking about, getting started in a career and things that you need to think about, she can be really great strategizing for those things. So I really encourage all of that. So, and I think that might be the end of our presentation. So I'll stop sharing and turn it over to you all that are attending for any questions you might have.
You can feel free to put it in the chat too if you don't want to come on camera or you don't want to speak. Thank you. Yeah. Of course, if anything comes to mind after you finish this, feel free to, we'll send you the link to review it, to watch the video again, or feel free to reach out to us to explain anything else. Well, I guess that's the end of our presentation, and we'll hang around for a few minutes if anybody has any questions they think of. But we're all set with our stuff, and we're glad that you joined us.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Oh, Sarah, you've got a question. Let's see. We talked about taking a couple semesters off. What would planning field placement look like if I'm actively in classes before, if I'm not actively in classes before the field placement begins? Basically, we keep a list. So if you're on a break, we keep an enrollment break list, and we'll be sure to connect you with the field team when it's your time to apply for field. So as Renee mentioned, it's about 6 months in advance that they start working on things. So we know that, or we discussed when your break would be. So I've already put it in our cohort spreadsheet where we write everything down about you guys, so we know for advising purposes. So I've already made a note that we discussed a potential break. So we would know to count back how many semesters are forward, when you would need to be in that web course for field placement. So we will get you in the right place where you need to be to plan for your break.
Right. So essentially what you would need to do is while you're on the break, you would need to monitor your student email, so that if you're on the break and it's, when you're supposed to be in the field placement process, checking the email to make sure that you know about Let's Get Real About Field, that you are, getting into the course and submitting the assignments on time, looking for the communication that you've been matched with a, that you've been assigned to a field faculty for placement, and then communication from them about getting matched. So a lot of those things are time sensitive. So it will be really important that even though you're on a break, that you're checking your email regularly. So hiccups happen when students don't do that. So but right before you go on your break, you're actually going to have a meeting with me to sort of talk about, like, okay, we're taking a break, and this is how long we're going to be gone, and this is when we're coming back, and this is what it'll look like. And I'll remind you about all of these things and what specifically it will look like in the time that you're on the break. So we'll know for sure what that will look like then. Yeah, happy to help. No problem. Did you have any other questions today? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Sarah. Have a good afternoon.
Take care.